Okay, now we have introduced the different conditions and what neurodiversity is. But initially we also said that neurodiversity is about not diagnosing and treating these people, but accepting and accommodating. So the big question now is, how can we actually support and better include people that might be within neurodiversity, whether or not they're diagnosed or no matter how strong their symptoms might be. And a big concept that we use in education is called universal design for learning, which means we tailor our learning environment so that it benefits everyone. And it's not about diagnosing and giving particular interventions to one person. So we don't say, okay, here's the autistic person, you get this kind of assignment, but it's about offering flexibility. So in a couple of videos later, we'll offer very detailed guidance on how to accommodate and how to change the classroom. But overall, based on the symptoms we just discussed, there are a few high-level things we can do. And some of them relate to style changes. So for example, using fonts that are more readable or a background that is more pleasing than white slides, for example, both for people with autism or dyslexia. Offering flexibility, offering clarity and guidance and, for example, assignments, which can help people that have difficulties with planning or following up on deadlines. And last but not least, also considering, for example, sensory issues. Are you wearing something that has very strong colors? Is the classroom good enough? If you're recording, is the sound good, or is there a lot of background noise? So these are some of the principles we can use. And then there are some slightly more advanced concepts. For example, what can we do in group work to address difficulties in social interaction, for example. So in a couple of videos following up, we will look into this in more detail. One important concept that we haven't really discussed up to this point, but that's why universal design for learning is so important, is something we call comorbidity. So all the conditions we discussed are on the one hand on a spectrum, and on the other hand, they have high comorbidity, which means one person with ADHD, for example, very often also has dyslexia or autism or something like that. So it's not that easy to just put people into boxes, whether we want that or not, but there is actually a large overlap between the different groups. And this is really why we need to tailor our classroom and make it as flexible as possible.